that capitalism creates this need for marking. It's not just about cultural, political category of race, but it represents a historical apparatus for production. Things like inequality of wage labor. So we probably have a better interim link to being able to solve for things like racism. You should also consider Alexander card. It's a better analysis of how racism in the United States propagated itself. It indicates that things like white supremacy only originated to justify and protect slavery because plantation owners needed an ability to split the poor whites and enslaved blacks that are working for them to prevent a revolution because these people were starting to rise up against the planter elites. This means that they gave the planter elites were very fearful of a multiracial alliance. So in order to protect their interests, they instigated things like a racial bribe. This means that they extended special privileges to poor whites. This is an instance in which capitalism was propagating things like a racial bribe. This probably explains the reason why organs were being able to be sold in the first place. They say the discourse. Go to Kate Crawford. They're still like they say the class is never a single. That we should examine class, race, and gender all together. But this is the reason why they don't get a permutation because this. They don't. First of all, they don't on the permutation. They don't answer that this debate has got a comedian epistemology. This means they don't get their permutation. And also, you should consider our McLaurin card. This card is a really good answer to this. It indicates that race, class, and gender are not co-primary. Class defines all the material dimensions, how things like race and gender get played out in the world. This means that their scholarship trades off our understanding how class is a wholly social category. This means their permutation gets any practical advantages of being able to solve for capitalism because class is just transformed from an economic category to just a subject position. This means a class is cut off from any sort of political economy. They're theorizing just replaces class analysis with cultural analysis. This means that we are never able to analyze how class affects things like racism. In the first place, this means that the app necessarily means that we can never solve back for the true causes of racism. And you should also extend our power of evidence that combining things like Marxism with cultural analysis just turn into pure rhetoric. This is probably also indicative of when on case they say the discourse is key to open up subversive knowledge, but you should extend our Giroux card here. It indicates that corporate control already defines all discourse. This means that they're just propping up capitalism by focusing on things like discourse in the first place because civic engagement now is impotent because corporations define what can be talked about in the public space and disconnect people from issues such as equity and social justice. The alt is a prerequisite to being able to solve that for any sort of case arguments. They say that the world is trying to unremember black culture, but this is probably just the reason why they will get co-opted. They're talking about things like black culture and Toni Morrison within the debate. So this just means that white kids can remember that culture and start talking about it too. This is the reason why this probably is the reason why it turns their case go to universities.
This is how you should evaluate the cases. Helper does it hard. Even if the white university is already co-opted to Tony's beloved in this space, in this debate around this is truly a form of violence. Maybe the white academy took from her, but why would black people do the same? Why use her work in order to undo what she said to do, which is to forget it and to let it go. This recreates that social death that we must reject it too. It gives the white academy permission to use these fictional stories and abuse it in order to place them back onto the black body. No answer coming out of the 1AR on this in 3 is a form of psychological warfare against ourselves as black people. The haunting forces us to relive the worst moments that cause more violence to ourselves in the same way Seeds does when she tries to kill her daughter, kill the man she thinks is the school teacher. She is left with the haunting and the consequences of her actions being done because of this, and it forces us to become Seeds.
Yeah, so this is the reason why you should vote for the negative. This is also the reason why they probably link back to capitalism because the academy always co-opts the story to give homage to things like the socially dead UC Berkeley that indicates the university is always a side of capitalist expansion. This means that by engaging these stories within the university, it means that their reputation is never able to solve back things like capitalism. They think that I don't think they have any answer of why this debate round you should not include those stories.
2:30.